Hey there, this is Sam with Bulldog Rooter. Today I'm doing a video inspection of the main sewer line for 407 West Indiana Avenue in Spokane, Washington. It is Cinco de Mayo, 2017. We're looking at the end of the city sewer, or the sewer line where it connects to the city sewer in the street. The line is about 100 feet long. That's what our camera is telling us right now. And this is what's called the hub connection. This is what connects to the city sewer. So the pipe that we're looking at straight on is the city sewer, and the one towards the right-hand side of the screen, if I start to pull back a little bit, is the one that we are in right now. And this is the city sewer to the house, or the sewer line to the house, excuse me. The sewer line, I think it was put in like the late 40s, is what's called a clay tile pipe. Clay tile is usually pretty good. What will happen over time is the line will start to settle, and you can run into some issues. Clay tile is usually put in 2 5-foot sections, and overground, the sections, over time, the sections will start to settle in the ground, and you'll start to see some of that here. So right here at our connection to the city sewer, where it starts to dip down, you can see at the top of the pipe, which is going to be towards the right-hand side of the screen, that it is there's a seam right there, and it does look separated, but a lot of times back in the day, that's kind of how they had to do it. You can see that the separation is actually stair-stepping down, so it's not really obstructing the flow of water. So stuff should be able to get through that just fine. And then it looks like we have another little curve down to where it can actually meet to the city sewer in the street right here. We see another minor separation, but that's nothing to worry about at all. We were called out here today because the sewer line was backed up. We put our cable all the way through this guy, and we pulled it back out, and then it backed up on us again when we started to run it. We put a camera inside of it, and we found just a whole lot of roots and a lot of sludge. It's looking like the roots might have been the cause of the main issue. A lot of times it'll catch up on sludge, and then it just gets really, really hard to get all that stuff out with the cable. So what we did is we used a hydro jetter, which pretty much pressure washes the line at a very high PSI and cleans out all the roots. So what we're looking at is seams as we're pulling back in this 4-inch tile. All these are looking like they're really, really cleaned up now. They look really good. It was almost like every seam was root and treated. So we pull back, the tile's looking really good. It looks like it's in great condition. I'm not seeing any major separations at this point. We're about 81 feet through. We're going pulling back here. Nothing too crazy or anything like that. You can see right here where it's actually like the 2 pieces of pipe towards the right-hand side of the screen are pushed apart. I'd say maybe like an inch or something like that. And you can see what's left of the roots after we got all that stuff out. Towards the right-hand side of the screen, it goes all the way up the pipe, you can see that. And then you got a little separation to where this thing's kind of offset to one side. I could definitely see if there's roots right there, how it'll catch stuff up and kind of create sludge and grossness. And the mat's not looking too terrible. You can see right here, there's just like a little minor pool, nothing really to worry about, and it looks a little separated towards the top right-hand corner of the screen. Like just a tiny little bit of roots left sitting at the bottom of the pipe. Those will just wash out with normal use because they're not really holding on to anything. Right here we have another little separation where it's pulling up again. And then right here we have another separation where it's pulling up again, and we actually drop into water. So at this point, this is what I would call a belly inside of a line. We can see that we're holding just about 1.5 inches to 1 inch of water right here as we're pulling through it. You see some debris kind of floating around in it, but that's just some of the roots that we are pushing out and whatnot. All of it's very small. All that stuff should wash down fairly easily. This belly starts at about like 75 feet. I'm going to push back out real quick so I can double check this. So we're sitting here at about 75 feet from this seam, and then we poke underwater here. Can't really see anything underwater, unfortunately, but this part of the line is either settled on the ground or it's back graded, so where it's always holding water. This puddle of water is going to catch up anything solid put down the line and eventually create a sludgy substance that we can't necessarily push our cable through. We can push our cable through it, but when we pull it back out, that sludge will collapse back on itself, and then it won't let any water pass by. And then it looks like right about here, which would be about 68 feet, so it's about a 7-foot long belly. It probably goes through about 2 sections of pipe right here, and you can see as we're going through it, just dips straight down. I believe that's just because the line is settled in this spot, and it's really going to be holding water here at all times, and eventually you will run into this issue again. There was roots around all these seams, so a belly plus roots, the roots are already catching stuff up, and then the belly is really going to stop stuff up together. This is probably why we couldn't get it open today with the cable. But everything is free flowing now. Another minor separation at the top of the screen, nothing too bad. That belly is more on the severe side. I mean, it's holding about 1.5 inches of standing water at all times, so it's not the best thing for a sewer line, but it will work. It's just kind of how long is it going to work with that belly there. I've heard stories to where it'll last, 3 or 4 years, and then it needs to get jetted out, or sometimes it'll be every 6 months. It just kind of depends on the kind of use that the line is getting. So right here we have another separation and another little puddle. Water holding, that's not anything major, like I was saying before. But it does look like over to the, not just mostly water. Yeah, just another separation right there. We're still in this this clay tile pipe right here. There's a seam. Got another separation towards the bottom of the pipe, which makes some water pull up, but it's not pulling up too bad, so no big worry there. Another seam. So as you can see, I mean, all of these seams are pretty much clean. That's what our jetter does. It just kind of pressure washes all the areas of the pipe and really gets it cleaned out, so there's no more roots sitting inside of the line. And that belly itself, it was like a very, very almost oatmeal substance. Now it's all water, just kind of what you want to see. Things that can help with a belly like that are just little things like flushing twice every time you use the toilet, or maybe filling up the tub with hot water once a month and letting it all drain down. The increased water flow is going to be able to push stuff out of that belly onto the other side of the line and hopefully get some more stuff out. Another thing we're seeing right here is just a little bit of loose roots. Kind of the thin stuff. It's not holding on to anything once again, so that's going to wash out normally just fine. Alrighty, we are hitting about 50 feet right here. And we go to a little seam. This one we hit pretty good. As you can see, there's a little bit of hairline stuff left. It's really not going to cause an issue. Most of that stuff's probably going to break off as the line's going to get put back into use. So yeah, other than that belly, this line's really not in bad condition. What I would recommend is just to kind of get this thing yearly maintenance to make sure that these roots don't grow in as much and get as big as they were. We had to run this thing about 3,000 psi, and we went through the line about 3 or 4 times to get all these roots out and make it look as clean as it does. There's a little separation, some more root intrusions right there, but those are all cleaned out as well. A little bit more loose roots on the left hand and right hand side of the pipe. A little bit more loose roots in this section right here. Looks like this stuff is kind of sitting inside of the seam. It's really not going to cause too much of an issue, but this stuff, unfortunately, will eventually grow back. That's why I'm saying yearly maintenance would be good. You run into a lot less issues and have to spend a lot less money getting them fixed. A little bit more loose stuff hanging out in the line. As you can see on the camera, it just kind of pushes that stuff. Nothing major, nothing crazy to worry about. These are all really thin. see just a little bit left, nothing major, nothing crazy, a little bit of root intrusion, another separation. Line's really not in bad condition. It's normal to see roots in almost every single clay tile line in Spokane. It's when they start to get real thick, and the roots in this particular line was probably covering about 80 to 90% of the pipe. There was one point where after we had got everything drained down and I started to run a little bit more water again, it backed up and I could push my camera through some of these roots. Some of the water would actually drain down with it, so it was taking up the whole pipe literally. And that on top of the belly that's later in the line, which is not a good thing. Some more loose roots, nothing major, those are all pretty tiny. Right here we switch from 4-inch clay tile to 4-inch cast iron. Cast iron is mainly what's going to be used inside of the house for a house that's aged. And the cast iron really, it's not too much to worry about. As long as you don't see very, very big cracks, you're usually okay. But you'll start to see it rust out every once in a while too, but it's not too often. What we're looking at right here is a pretty big separation from where the cast iron and the tile connect. You can see that there's a pool of water holding at the bottom of the line, which is going to be towards the top left-hand side of the screen. And there's a very large root intrusion here as well, and it was not the easiest to get this thing out. We had to run the jetter at about 3,000 psi. It's sitting about 10 feet away from me. So it was not the easiest thing, but we got it taken care of, got it. That's about as clean as we can get those last couple of ones, because we're going to start getting water everywhere. But they're all pretty cleaned up. That looks really well. So yeah, cast iron's looking a little rusty, but it's normal to see, especially for a house this age. I don't see anything crazy cracking or anything like that at all. You can see that that's probably where the upstairs toilet and a couple of things tie in. We are now inside the house. We're going to be pulling out the clean out from which we did our video inspection from. There's a little picture of our clean out right there, and our dirty bucket that caught all the water for us. Most of it anyways. We still got a little bit of clean out, but nothing too terrible. That was your video inspection, and once again, I'm Sam with Bulldog Reader. Thank you.